few days just to see Munich and then Milan Business Summit or something like that. I'm speaking at that one. And then coming home, it's like a 5-week trip.
Very cool.
I'm just going to open the door and let my cats out and see how they fare.
Yeah, Back of the Bike Tours if you want a Vietnam food tour.
Back of the Bike Tours? Oh, right on.
Yeah.
That's our whole plan for Vietnam is just to eat.
Yeah, the guy who owns the business knows you, so he'll treat you right.
The guy who owns the business? Are you the owner?
No. But I did SEO for him. He watches all of our shows, so you're
really
a celebrity if you go with him.
Do you know what part of Vietnam he's in? Because we're just going to Hanoi.
Oh, he's in Ho Chi Minh.
Damn it! That would have been amazing. Do we know anybody in Hanoi?
He took me on some food tours in Bangkok last week, and that was amazing too.
I remember you talking about that. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Now maybe I'll try to hook up with him because we will be in Bangkok for a few days too. Kim has family in Bangkok. We're trying to hook up with.
Yeah, but I think he's based in Ho Chi Minh. So.
Damn it! Well, tell him to move. Come on.
I think he likes it too much.
No, he's in Ho Chi Minh. He can't get out to Hanoi.
All right, guys, we're live. Everyone appreciated your travel tips.
Join us.
Awesome. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us for episode 38 of SEO Fight Club. So we have an action-packed episode for you today. I am going to turn off my camera and focus on the content, trying to make sure I don't have bandwidth issues. So let me go ahead and stop my video. All right. So can you guys see my slides okay?
Yep.
Awesome. So if you haven't heard about this thing called Internet Marketing Gold, it's our SEO community. It has a free component to it that will always be free. It includes chat. It includes our tools database. It includes access to courses. We're going to have a news feature that's coming out with aggregated headlines from all around the web about SEO. And we have something new coming out soon too. What's the info on that, Kyle?
Wait, what?
What's coming? The new thing. About
I wasn't expecting to talk so soon.
It's coming out soon.
Oh, we've got the tests, or the SEO tests are coming out finally.
So what's that going to be all about?
The thing that we want to do is actually happening. So it's going to be a series of single variable tests, and then I think after that, Ted, then your tests are going to come out. Is that right?
Yep, that's the plan.
All right, so we're finally doing it. We're finally getting there.
Awesome.
Is it scientific tests?
These are scientific tests. These are scientific tests.
Very cool. So there's this other thing called SEO This Week. If you've been living under a rock and you haven't heard about it, it's basically the show where instead of you pouring through hundreds of articles each week to figure out which ones have meat and which ones are total garbage, Clint does it for you, which is a huge time saver. So if you want to reclaim all of that garbage sifting time and get someone who's very knowledgeable to spend those hours for you, you need to check out this show. And this week's show in particular just had a ton of awesome drops. Clint, what can people expect from this week's show?
This week we highlighted a website where they're putting together lessons learned for marketing campaigns, showing all the data and stuff. So that's really cool. So think of it as a swipe file. We looked at a couple more posts in regards to the September update, some more theories, and then we looked at some tools, in particular Python, and things you can do with that for your SEO stuff if you're adventurous and you want to learn a little bit.
Very cool. So I highly recommend you go and check that out and subscribe and ring the bell on that so you get alerts when new episodes come out. But it's the same day every week. So it's 2 o'clock, or it's Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. So I know everybody's all around the world, but definitely check that out. Definitely subscribe. So today we're going to talk about problems in rank tracking. And it's not going to be just one problem. I'm just going to kind of lay out the whole landscape of what's wrong, in my opinion, with rank tracking. And then we'll talk about that. And, you know, I'm basically going to give you all of the product planning that you would need if you wanted to build a next generation solution that would impress me by today's SEO standards. One of my big gripes about rank trackers is all of the SaaS and software out there, you know, they're pretty, I'll give them that. But they're basically selling the exact same solution from 2005 and sprinkling in API data. And that just makes me want to swear. You know, they're not acknowledging they're not acknowledging that our understanding of SEO has evolved in any way, shape, or form, and they're not incorporating that better understanding into the solution. And, you know, really at the heart of the matter, you know, when somebody comes up to you guys and says, I use, you know, this rank tracking software, or I use this rank tracking SaaS, do you guys start quaking in your boots? Are you just like, oh my God, you have so much more advantage than I do?
Quaking right now. Currently quaking.
I mean, well, that's the problem with all these vanilla solutions that are basically unchanged since 2005. And I get a lot of criticism, and rightly so, because my software is ugly as sin. You know, it's not pretty, but I don't deal in pretty. That's not my value proposition. I deal in advantage. And when I spend money and when I spend time, I want my tools to
Ted's down.
They need pretty, you know. And so if what you need is pretty, that's fine. That's not what I deal in. So when I pick at solutions, I'm picking at them because I want advantage. And so recently, very recently, past 2 weeks recently, Google started having a new behavior. From a source code perspective, their links for people also ask entries exactly match the links for search results, and they didn't used to. So Google made those links exactly match the search result source code. And the net effect of that is anytime there were queries where there are these people also ask blocks, people were coming back going, holy crap, my rankings fell 9 places. But when you go and manually check, you're still in your same spot. It's because these tools are getting these false signals that there's 9 more organic links above you because Google made them look identical. And it's really shifty. You know, in my opinion, some engineer at Google said, I know what'll screw up rank trackers, and made this change. So maybe not, who knows the mind of Google, but it was a very shifty change, and it scared a lot of people who were monitoring their rankings. Did you guys see any shift in this?
I don't really use rank trackers anymore, so I think like cut the chase and don't do that. Don't look at them. it'll only drive yourself insane, and it's not really a great KPI. So short answer, no.
How about you, Clint? You see any motion?
I noticed a little bit of change when it was the Cora issue that brought this to light. And around that same time, I noticed some issues with my rank tracker with SEO Power Suite, but I think they adapted fairly quickly to it. I didn't check like SERPWoo and Nightwatch, which we also leverage those to see, but we got so many keywords in there, that would be a pain. So.
Yeah, so this is just one issue. It's the latest one, and it is fairly minor. Another issue is keyword swapping. And the problem with keyword swapping is that you conduct a search on Google, and you'll have to forgive my dog. He saw another dog, so I apologize. He'll stop in a minute.
You're such a professional.
Yeah, exactly. You'll have to conduct different searches. And what you'll see is that in some searches, Google will say, oh, there's not any matches. And in other searches, Google will say, oh, I'll show you the results for it, but did you mean this other thing? And then for other searches, let me go back, sorry. It'll say, we're showing the results for a different keyword because we found no results for the keyword you were searching for. And it's like, holy crap, you're showing me irrelevant results for the thing I wanted to search, and rank trackers aren't necessarily designed to pick up on that. And then in some cases, Google will actually say there are search results for the thing you're searching for, but I'm going to show you the results for something else because I think you're wrong. And rank trackers aren't designed to detect and handle these scenarios properly. Now, is this going to affect a lot of things? No, this largely screws up people using rank trackers for SEO testing, but there are probably edge cases where this is messing up actual terms too. So, that's another place where, your 2005 inspired rank trackers are just going to give you bad data. And then another problem is volatility and sampling. Now, these are SEO test cases. And we run, for certain tests, we'll run them on 10 sites concurrently, or even more sites. And what we find is the exact same pages on different sites rank different. There's this volatility. And when a particular SEO ranking factor is strong, it'll beat all the controls and it'll perform similarly across all 10 sites. And so we look at the average ranking and the standard deviation. When I deploy tests like these, and I look at a single site while the change is deploying in Google, I can sit there and search for my test keyword and just hit refresh and watch its ranking change. It'll go from ranking 10, it'll go to ranking 4, it'll be ranking 1, it'll be not indexed. While that data is propagating, while the changes to your website are propagating throughout Google servers, you will get different answers in your ranking. And so if your rank tracker isn't saying, I checked your ranking 5 times in a very short amount of time, you'll be unaware as to whether or not that ranking is volatile, meaning it changes when you check it right now, or stable, meaning we checked it 5 times and we got the same answer 5 times. So there's no concept of volatility in most modern rank trackers, and there needs to be, because that volatility means A, your changes haven't propagated yet, or B, Google is rolling out algorithm updates and it's just more volatile right now.
You can see that a little bit in Search Console with the rank tracking that they do, because they give you an average. So you'll see they don't just tell you that you're in the one spot, but they'll tell you like your average is 1.3 or something like that. So it actually does take that into consideration.
Which is
natural movement.
Yeah, which is great, but they suffer from the sampling side where they don't show you all the keywords you care about. They show you what you think you might want to see. And so you have massive blind spots because of sampling, even though they give you a little bit of the volatility. And some of the rank trackers out there, and I know there's going to be a lot of comments, well, you know, solution X solves problem A, but none of them address it all well. They, you know, there are some out there that will handle one or two of these things, but they'll be having huge gaps in other areas. And so this is another area, the volatility and sampling. Change tracking. There are change tracking solutions out there, but it's important to know about, you know, when you rank number 5 and you're down 3, where there are obvious changes that might have led to that. And in this particular example, I've shown it in the past, the thing that was different was that they weren't tuning their meta description. There's no other difference on the page. And between the two dates, I captured these changes in the search result. It was Google A/B testing snippets off the page. That was the only difference between the up 3 and the down 3. Up 3, down 3 is Google's A/B testing. And so the lesson on this was, seeing that Google was picking the snippet and was A/B testing, you should probably tune your meta description to get rid of this volatility in ranking. But the fact that you know that you're down 3 and currently rank 5, there is no actionable information in just that alone. And if you sprinkle in vanilla API data in with that ranking data, it's still not telling you what you needed to know. And so those 2005 inspired rank trackers aren't giving you the actionable information. They're sprinkling in API data, letting you throw the chicken bones and try to read your shamanistic fortune. And so we need rank trackers to be more actionable and to deliver actual advantage. And this is one way that they should be doing that. And rank trackers, especially the SaaS ones, are cost prohibitive. And when you go to SaaS, what you often find is they really limit you on how much you can track. So if you have 30 clients and you have to share, you know, 100,000 keywords and pay $3,300 a month to do it, well, you're not. You're just going to do it a lot less, which means that there's huge blind spots. And when I was in online retail, we had 25,000 SKUs. And if each one of those products had 6 keywords, which a product could easily have 6 keywords, that's 250,000 keywords. And so I'd say even at that threshold, we had blind spots in our targeting, and there was no tool on the market that could do it. And people will say, well, what about the desktop software from Link Assistant? We'll get into that. That had limitations in other ways, and I couldn't even use that. But, you know, there are these cost prohibitive limitations, and there are, you know, engineered by design limitations that come into play. And so we get into those limitations, and it's like for the Link Assistant one, for me, I had 30 websites that overlapped on the same keywords, but they would only let me track 10 competitors in a single configuration of the Link Assistant rank tracker. And, you know, I would ask them for years, and I would beg them, expand it. I need more than 10 competitors to track. You know, I have 30 websites and 250,000 keywords. So I have to configure the same keywords in 3 different projects and run rank tracking on those 250,000 terms 3 times in a month. Basically, I was spending, you know, odd number months measuring SEO and even number months implementing SEO. And that is cost prohibitive, not in dollars, but cost prohibitive in time. I'm spending half a year trying to measure my critical terms, and that's too expensive. So even that software from Link Assistant for a business at my scale, it wasn't a solution. I had to go custom to get the information at the right cost of money and time. And so those are other factors that a lot of these rank tracking solutions don't account for. Another thing is connection speed variation. You know, I was fortunate enough to learn very early on that checking rankings while I was commuting on a ferry boat was a bad idea, because the second I'd get into the office, the rankings would be different. And so rank tracking tools aren't alerting you to these kinds of issues that, oh, the context of your rank tracking has changed. You're changing locations when you check at these different places. You're checking rankings at different time of day, or different, you know, you're checking on a weekend versus a weekday. You're checking on a seasonality shift where, you know, this month search volume is down. So obviously that can impact your understanding of rankings. You know, so these variations are important and they're detectable. And they don't do a good job of reporting seasonality versus growth. They don't do a good job of telling you that, you know, things might be impacted simply because consumers don't search Easter as much the week after Easter as they do the week before Easter.
Is that the rank tracker's job, or is that yours as the marketer who should know those seasonality changes, though?
Well, it should present the information saying, hey, seasonally, you're seeing these effects, but year over year, your SEO is up, even though your rankings versus last month might be down. Your rankings same month versus last year might be up. And so they can tell you this, and they can kind of predict some of these effects because they know the seasonality from a lot of different API data, including the Google's API data on the monthly volume for these terms. So it's something that they have clues about, that they could be reporting about, but none of them do. None of them do.
How would you propose that they would scale that? How would a SaaS company address that? So seasonality from one niche to another is different. So you're asking them to pull all of that data. They're getting the ranking data, but you're asking them to pull the seasonality data, correlate it, and then report it. To me, I think that, in my opinion, that seems like a reach to ask for a rank tracker.
Well, I'm going to get into that. So I'm going to continue and offer actual solutions. You're right. There's blindness. We can't easily track revenue and conversions and traffic by keyword because Google hides that from us. But the thing is, if you create a tool, you can create methods to leverage getting this information. And one of those methods is to use the most appropriate keyword for a URL. You know, what is the golden keyword? Obviously, you'll rank for multiple keywords, but there's probably one that is the trophy keyword for this page. And if you use that systematically, then you can map those particular goal keywords with the traffic, conversions, and revenue of the URLs. These are solvable systems.
So now you're asking them to be analytics at the same time.
Well, if you're making a rank tracker, that's a big piece of development. As that rank tracking company, you could say, here's a PHP tool that's compliant with our rank tracking software. Put this on your server and put these snippets on your pages. And then all of a sudden, we will have unsampled data for traffic, conversions, and revenue in line with our solution. So there's no reason that rank trackers couldn't create small add-on components that you could optionally include to get this folded in. They just
That
don't.
increase the cost of rank tracking though?
Well, let's be
now
honest.
You're processing all that data and bringing it all in.
Let's be honest. Most websites aren't that big and could do this easily. Rank trackers aren't doing this because they haven't really felt compelled to innovate anything new since like 2007.
If you change your focus and do it so that it's page focused and not keyword focused, you can get all this. And you can do it within Data Studio.
Yeah.
Like, so you kind of like shift the thought. Obviously, you do have to have a list of keywords that's involved in that. But if you change it so that it's not keyword centric but page centric, then this becomes, I think, a simpler problem to solve.
Yeah, what you find is marketers innovate these problems, but rank tracking solution providers don't. And so, yeah, the capability is there, and these solutions are, rank tracking is in a perfect position to innovate and solve on these problems, yet they don't. Yet they don't. The marketers have to do it themselves. So if there was a rank tracker that made that easy for you, you would probably appreciate
it. You would also be paying a lot for it.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, you might if it's the only one on the market. And that's, hey, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a developer and you're going, well, geez, what could I do that people would pay a lot for? Well, there you go. You could unseat all the rank trackers in the whole industry by applying modern understanding of SEO to rank tracking.
Well, they might, or they might know that I can just combine the Google Analytics and Search Console data in Data Studio and see what you're representing here when I compare it to the rank tracker information. So,
but what you'll also find is, yeah, that'll work at small scales. The second you start to go up in volume, you have to pay Google 6 figures to get that unsampled. So, that falls apart with scale. Keyword reach of the page. You've mentioned this one in the past. How many keywords does the URL rank for? Rank trackers could keep an eye on that and let you know this information. And I know that like Ahrefs folds that in, and like I said before, some solutions do some of these things, but there's no one solution that addresses all these things in an elegant way. And
this is a key KPI that we track, actually, is how many keywords a page is ranking for. Because if you have a page when you start a project and it's ranking for 200 keywords, and then you've optimized it and now it's ranking for 1,000 keywords, that's a healthy page. Yeah. You can see the other thing too is that when a page drops in traffic, you can often look and see maybe you lost a chunk of keywords, and it's a good way to identify where a problem might have been. That Google was associating this set of keywords for a particular page, and now it's gone. And you can kind of then figure out maybe where that went. But instead of like, I think if you're just watching individual, even if you're watching that prime keyword, that main keyword you're talking about, you're going to miss all those secondary keywords that page is ranking for. And they're probably driving a lot of traffic, if not more traffic than that golden or prime keyword.
Or even more importantly, you'll find out maybe a keyword you didn't think about, Google did, and it's converting a whole lot better than your original ones.
For sure. It happens all the time.
And that's not generally because rank trackers got awesome. That's because you as a marketer innovated what you do and what you watch. And I know that, again, Ahrefs has some visibility into this, but rank trackers in general tend to neglect it. Organic traffic to page. And this is a case where, you could have a little PHP add-on that works with your rank tracking solution that gets you this information for the things that you have control over. And so, if I was making a rank tracker, and hint, hint, I've been working on it for a long time, it's not coming soon. So, but this is something where, I would want to pull conversion data and traffic data unsampled from my system. And most people who are paying to host a website at any scale could probably fold this capability in and have it integrate in some sort of a standard way into a SEO rank tracking solution. So it's not just your rankings, it's your traffic, it's your conversions, it's your organic revenue. And when you get the bragging rights on all of that in your SEO tracking, which is really what we need is SEO tracking, not just rank tracking, then you start to tell a better story to your customers or to the businesses you work for. Same thing, conversions, search volume, something that is oftentimes missing in rank tracker data. You really need to know if the terms, and I see this all the time, I'll go to a customer, they'll say, you know, I got this solution and I went to Keyword Planner and I pulled these 2,000 keywords for my area and check this out, you know, these 87, I'm on page 1. And I'm looking at those 87 going, they're at 0 or close to 0 search volume. And if you're doing SaaS on those keywords, well, then you're paying a premium for keywords that are never going to perform. And so there's this lack of notification from these tools saying, hey, you know, I know you rank number 1 for these terms, but these terms are probably not performing for you. And those tools should be indicating that. What do you guys think about understanding the opportunity of keywords in a rank tracker?
To me, I think you're asking a lot of a rank tracker. So you're saying, I want you to track my rankings. I want you to track all my keywords. I want you to do the analytics and highlight that and show it all to me. And that's asking a lot, in my opinion. I think there are some ways around it and to kind of bring that data together that you're talking inside of a SaaS platform. If they started doing what we can do at Data Studio and pulling all that data into one thing and visualizing it. But I don't know that there's a whole lot of people who would get it. And then the people that would get it are already, you know, they're essentially already got their own stuff. So why are they going to pay for something that they can do for free, right? So I don't know. I like the idea. I like the points that you're making. I just don't know that these points are necessarily the fault of rank trackers.
That's true.
But I think actually, though, to your point, Clint, that this can be done, and Ted, your point that this can be done, and you can do it within Data Studio. And it's really a matter of setting it up, which isn't easy or fun, but it's very doable.
Yeah.
And so a SaaS could actually take it and add in a few more bells and whistles to what you can actually do with Data Studio, pulling in GA and Search Console data, and then maybe just adding a little analysis on top of it. Maybe that shouldn't be too hard. I guess the trick would be if you can actually consistently pull that data from Google.
Consistently at scale, because, you know, most people like, you know, if you're like, let's take Stephen Kang, for instance, where he's dealing with thousands of keywords and he throws those into a rank tracker and pulls all that data. And then there's 50 to 100 Stephen Kangs. That stuff's going to add up. So, I mean, at what point do you say, hey, I'm not looking to make a rank tracker anymore. I'm looking for a reporting solution, which is essentially what you're saying that we should have.
That's a great point. This isn't rank tracking. This is reporting. This is performance reporting is really what we're looking for. And Ted, to your point, rank trackers fail miserably at performance reporting because individual keyword rankings are not super great as a KPI.
Yeah, and they haven't been since proximity became an issue. So,
yep, I can agree with that. I feel differently about it because, I believe in the tool set. I'm just frustrated that the tool set has been stagnant, and it could have innovated into SEO reporting, SEO tracking instead of just the rank tracking. And so I want more and I believe in it. I'm just frustrated that it hasn't come yet. Search context, like I see the rank trackers all boasting that they support 374 different search engines. Well, what they often don't tell you is that 280 of those are Google in different countries and different languages. And so really it's one search engine with a bunch of different parameter dimensions.
Isn't that how Rank Tracker from Link Assistant continues to get monthly money out of people? They say that they updated all their, all those different search engines. Clint, you use them. Don't you get these emails all the time? Like, we updated these 15, and you find that it's like,
yeah, really.
Yeah, it's yearly. They do it yearly, and it's kind of in the auto updates. Conveniently enough, that they don't update your search engine until your subscription expires, and then there's one available. But
of course, that's perfect.
It's kind of like the same thing as paying for a monthly, though. So I appreciate the effort that goes into maintaining that, especially knowing you guys and all the work that you do on a daily basis. And that's why I don't buy lifetime deals anymore, because someone who's pimping a lifetime deal for their software has no intention of keeping that up. So I don't mind paying that monthly.
Yeah,
in our case, a yearly.
They're honest about the fact that there is routine maintenance. So yeah, there absolutely is work to keep it running, and it costs them money to keep the system alive. They're not being completely honest when they say it's 380 search engines. No, it's more like 20 or 30, and most of them you will never care about. But what there is a context. When you enter in a keyword, you should be saying, well, is it a keyword on mobile or desktop? Is it in English, or is it a French keyword? Should it be limited to, Germany? Should it be near Berlin? Do I really care about anything below the top 100 results? And then there are these other concepts of, should I, masquerade my physical location, and, do I care about the browser vendor that's looking? And we'll go into those a little bit too, but those are also other considerations. And all these choices, in addition to the keyword you're tracking, affect the results you get. So if your rank tracker isn't letting you specify all these things, then decisions are being made for you in that case. And that may not be a big deal, but there's this whole context around the search. And then the time requirements. So measuring SEO takes time away from implementing SEO. And so, I touched upon that before, and that's a very important thing. And when you're setting up your SEO tracking and Data Studio and maintaining that, you're paying for it. You're just paying with time instead of money. And somewhere there's, some opportunity to trade money for that time back. And that's why I think that rank trackers should be doing this. Even though it's a big ask, I think it's a big opportunity. And the first company to do it all right is going to just dominate in this area. So I'll move on from there. Actionable information, did your ranking go up or down because of something you did? Did your ranking go up or down because of something somebody else did? Or are things unchanged and your ranking moved because of something Google did? These are detectable things, and rank trackers should be giving you insights into that. And then there are different types of pages. There are different types of keywords. You ought to be able to segment based on those. So you can see, are my product pages hit? Are my category pages hit? Are my brand terms hit? Is it the blog pages that are affected? And so rank trackers aren't very good at showing you these things based on those clusters of page types and keyword types. And they should really be better at that. And then the overall status, how is my website doing? Overall, am I kind of up across the board or down across the board? And rank trackers have varying degrees of telling you that type of dashboard information. And then, of course, alerts, should your rank tracker let you know when your average position is falling? Should it let you know when your ranking products are in a sold out state and are likely to have increased bounce rate? And should it tell you when it goes back in stock that your performance, your KPIs change? These things can be detected, but they don't. And then indexation. Like I think.
I'll go back.
Go back.
Okay. Okay, so let's say that it can be detected. So typically, the way it's going to be detected is it's going to crawl your site, and it's going to be look for probably the keyword sold out. That's the most obvious way to detect.
Well,
sold out on the page in the code, or there's some code that the site is sending to the rank tracker. So now you're asking for the rank trackers to also be web crawlers to crawl your web page.
Well, if you're doing the change detection, you're already on the page. So
right. So and that goes back. I didn't want to say anything during the change detection part because you're saying I want you to crawl my every time you notice a bounce in the rankings, I want you to crawl my website and tell me what changed on the website.
Well, even at a minimal implementation, you could say if you're using your product availability schema, we'll watch that. So if you do that in a standard way, our software will tell you if this is a case of sold out product and you dropped because your bounce back to SERP is aggravating people because they clicked on your search result to find that it's not available. Versus it's in stock and people check out because they were after what you were looking for. That's a case of that schema designation. The actual state of having the product available can affect your rankings because of bounce back to SERP.
Right. But you're still asking me to crawl the website. That's what you want them to do.
Well, if I'm asking them to do the change detection, it's basically free to tell me if there's sold out schema on the page.
Yeah.
So I know it's a big ask, but people want to buy it, and it's not that hard to code.
Are you taking your pain medications today?
The cannibalization one shouldn't be too tricky as an alert because most will tell you which is the ranking page that they found for a particular keyword. And if that keeps changing, that's when you know you've got a cannibalization issue. So that shouldn't be too much of an ask there.
Yeah, and some of these things are easy, some of them are harder, but I don't think it's unreasonable to ask that this industry does more than it's done in the past 10 years. And they're basically selling the same solution you had in 2007, plus some sprinkled in API data. And 10 years from now, I still don't want to see the 2007 solution. So I think this stuff is doable today. It's just they don't want to do it. We don't want to do it, but if there's a market opportunity, people will pay for it. Indexation is another thing. Like, there's no reason you couldn't have a rank tracking solution that says if you use meta keywords, or if you're afraid of meta keywords, use this meta keyword we invented to let us know the meta keyword on the page, and submit your sitemap to the tool, and we'll set up all your rank tracking based on those keyword goals and those pages in your sitemap. Bam, instantly, automatically mapped out. You're doing intentional SEO and you're well organized, and we know your goal keywords for all the pages. And by doing that, we can look at your indexation rate. As a rank tracker, we can tell you if you're having indexing problems. I mean, that's an awesome feature. There's no reason that shouldn't exist. And accidental versus intentional SEO, I've touched on this already. When I look at most people's rank tracking setups, most of the keywords they're tracking are the feel-good, zero volume keywords that they rank #1 for. That's typically accidental SEO. It's not their goals. It's not what they're actually shooting for a lot of the time. And they oftentimes will pay a premium to fill up their rank tracker with a bunch of do-nothing terms. So again, we want to be in the business of intentional SEO. And most rank trackers are horrible for SEO testing. I know there's a total of 4 SEO testers listening today in the world.
3 sitting right here.
But for that market, existing rank trackers are terrible, just horrible. What do you think about that?
Well, you can't use them. What I use is if I need to do something automated, I use something like Visual Ping, which can detect changes in the service. That's not perfect. More often than not, you have to do manual checks for SEO tests.
Yep.
Yeah, I look at the rank tracker and see any indications, but I always manually check the verify, which in itself has problems because you're adding location and all that other different factors too that screw it all up.
So just wanted to show a quick example of variations by browser vendor. So search Google the same time, once from Chrome, once from Safari, and they flip-flop results. So exact same time, exact same keyword, results in different places based on browser vendor. Very common. There's a number of theories for why this happens, and it could very likely be the case that Google's not being evil or nefarious. It's just how they look at your connection speed and filter based on page weight. The rendering engines between these two browsers perform different, just minutely, and that's enough to flip-flop these results. Back in, a decade ago, Firefox was really upset at Google, saying that Google was showing different results for their browser than for Chrome. We think that was probably based on their estimation of page speed. And that could be because of the differences in rendering. But it's something to take note of. If you have a lot of people using, mobile browsers, if your traffic is divvied up based on that mobile market share, you might want to look at your rankings based on those mobile user agents. And then, of course, rank trackers need to keep track of noteworthy events. Knowing that your server had an outage last Tuesday is important to the traffic. If Google said, oh, well, your server is not responding, I'm going to tank your ranking, noting that event is important. And, products selling out, denial of service attack, suspected Google updates, and website deployment dates, knowing that engineering deployed a new website and then rankings tanked. Why can't you integrate those commit messages in GitHub with your rank tracker so you know when deployments happen? Those things could automatically be flagged, going, engineering deployed a new website and all of our rankings tanked. That's useful information to map up, and it's not particularly difficult to code in. So again, another huge ask from Ted, but I think we should ask. As I mentioned, that I'm playing with some of these features. So this is a prototype I've built where I'm trying to innovate some of these things myself. And that's why I feel so strongly, is I know what it takes to do some of these things because I have literally done them in my prototype. And so this is my SEO software I've never really shown anyone. And it's not coming anytime soon, but I wanted to show that it wasn't vapor. And when I innovated my prototype rank tracker, I made it as a web server. So it's like Apache or Nginx. You run it on a server and you configure these profiles for customers, and it automatically creates websites for each customer for them to manage their keywords and to view their reports. And so when I did this, I was like, okay, I know I want software because I want to keep the costs down. I want to do 250,000 keywords. I want that to be feasible. And I potentially want to service clients. So how am I going to do it? Well, I need a web server that does rank tracking. And so it should just be out of the box. You should be able to set it up as a white label business for next generation rank tracking solutions. And so that's what I kind of did my innovation around, is around that crazy notion of let's reinvent a web server for rank tracking. And it does things like you don't have to pick competitors. It's going to get the top 100 and tell you all of the movers and shakers in the top 100 and do the change detection. And so here it's telling you that there's one change it found on the page on this one. And here it's showing you changes in the SERP. But what's interesting is this is up 1 and this one is down 2, 1, 2. This one is up 1 because this one fell down 2. It didn't move because of that one change. It moved because this one dropped. And this one dropped because Google is A/B testing because they're not tuning their meta description. So at a glance, in this type of rank tracking presentation, I know why this one is up. I know that the change on their web page likely had no effect. And I know this one is volatile because of that meta description. And then if I visit that one change, it better be not significant on the page. Oh, check that out. It's just a counter, a user counter went down. They lost some users. That's not going to change the ranking really. So it's like I learned information from the rankings, and this type of thing is doable. It's not impossible. It might be impossible for me because I'm just spread so thin and it's not my primary business that I'm in. But I feel passionate that it's not unreasonable to ask an industry to advance with the times. It's clearly doable. It's clearly feasible. And I suspect that somewhere in there is a business goldmine where people will throw money at you to deliver a solution like these.
I like money. They can throw it my way.
If this capability was to market today, I think it would sell well. I just believe that. But all right, it's out for a vote. Am I crazy or am I a genius?
I vote crazy.
Yeah, I'm going with crazy.
There you have it, folks. Should we go to some questions?
I checked, and we really don't. Other than the obvious, when is your rank tracker coming out? But I already told him you've been working on it for like 2 years, and it's still not out. So
yeah, I'm just spread too thin to work on it more. I need to, though. I know people want it. That's another reason why I believe in it, is I know the interest in it is high.
Other than that, nope, no other questions in there in the chat.
Anyone want to join me at Chili's? I'm thinking about a skillet queso.
Ooh, nice. All right. Well, I'll apologize for the rant. That is my full unloading on rank trackers. It was a good topic. So hopefully now you at least know the issues about rank trackers, and maybe you can evaluate which one is best for your needs.
Yeah, I think it was a great discussion. You brought up some good points. As I said earlier, it just seems like you're asking a lot of them. So the people that would, I don't know that a mom and like a, an agency with, 10, 15 local clients would see the value and cost versus what you're getting out of it, or be able to justify paying that much for all of those features. But an enterprise agency for sure would. I just think you're asking a lot. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Because it's just just kind of glaring over. You're asking it to be a web crawler, a change detection, the server's down thing. So you're asking it to ping every site that it's got in there too, and make sure that the server's working. So how often do you want that to happen? And there's so many different things that you want it to do.
Well, you need to ping if you want to understand the volatility too.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, no, I hear you. It's definitely next generation. Yeah. But I just don't want to get 10 years from now and see the same 2005 solution, because that's where we're at today, is that same 2005 solution.
Well, SEO is going to be dead 10 years from now. So.
Well, we can't let rank tracking get away without innovating.
Yeah.
Gotta hold them to task. They can deliver something. They can't do it all, but they can give us something.
I think one of the easiest things to me would be for them to implement what you suggested on seeing the meta description changes.
Yep.
That would be pretty cool. And to me, that seems like that would be the easiest thing for them to all implement, like right now.
Yep. Yeah. I'm not asking that they do every crazy idea I have. They could even think up their own ideas. I just don't want to see the same 2005 solution. Because honestly, I think Kyle said it all with, he doesn't use it. He doesn't see any value in it. And I don't think you're quaking in your boots based on who's using what rank tracker. I think competitively, it's not advantage whichever one you're using.
Yeah.
So they need to do something to differentiate.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said before, we monitor things at the page level. So we're just looking at that page performance, and making sure that that page is getting clicks and it's getting impressions and it's getting conversions. And those are way better KPIs than our main keyword went from 5 to 6, or 6 to 4. Who cares?
You're no longer rank tracking. You're SEO tracking.
Right. Like which I think is what your complaint is, that the keyword trackers aren't really SEO tracking, even though that's what they are pretending to be.
That's exactly right. Well, I guess we'll let Kyle get off to Chili's.
I'll swing by and pick anybody up.
And once again, a reminder, check out SEO This Week. There were some gems of articles in that episode.
And make sure you sign up for IMG. If you're not on there yet, you're missing out. And if you could, we're kind of slacking, and I haven't asked you guys lately, but hit the thumbs up or thumbs down. I don't care. Engagement is engagement. Subscribe and the little bell to make sure you're notified when we go live. And we appreciate all of your support.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.